Welcome back, everyone, to another deep dive. And today, we're stepping onto the mat, so to speak.
Into the world of karate, you mean?
Exactly. But we're not just talking roundhouse kicks and fancy katas.
Nope. We're going deeper, I'd say, exploring the philosophy behind it all.
Right. And to guide us through this, we have the words of a true karate legend, Oyama, the founder of Kyokushin's style.
Intense training, right. That's what he's known for.
Absolutely, pushing the limits. But Oyama also had a lot to say about what karate truly means, beyond just fighting techniques.
You've brought some of his writing for us to unpack.
I have, so let's dive in and really get a sense of what he meant when he said that karate, it's more than just a sport.
Yeah, he was pretty clear about that, wasn't he?
Oh yeah, one of the first things he says is that if you strip away Budo from karate, you're left with something shallow.
Shallow, he says. Could be a sport, could be a show, even just a fashion statement.
So before we go any further, what exactly is this Budo that Oyama keeps coming back to?
It's a big one. Budo basically translates to the martial way. Think of it as the heart and soul of martial arts, the philosophy behind the moves, the spiritual side of things.
Makes sense.
Mm.
So Oyama felt that real karate, the kind rooted in Budo, it's about more than just winning or losing.
Exactly. He was all about self-growth, discipline, responsibility. Yeah, it's kind of like Bushido for the samurai.
Enduring your way of the warrior.
Right. It wasn't just about swinging a sword. It was a whole code of ethics that they lived by on and off the battlefield.
Ah, so Oyama saw karate in that same light, demanding that same depth.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. It's not just about getting that roundhouse kick perfect. It's about developing a level of discipline that impacts everything you do.
How you work, how you handle relationships, even just how you deal with stress.
It all ties in.
And then there's this really powerful image that Oyama uses, karate abandoning the sword. What do you make of that?
Well, on one level, it's about moving beyond just aggression, beyond ego. It's saying that true karate is a tool for inner peace, not just for fighting.
So it's about growth, not just combat.
Absolutely. And that abandoning the sword idea, you can see it play out in all kinds of ways. Like imagine you're in a disagreement at work. Instead of interrupting, instead of digging in your heels, you actually listen. You try to find some common ground.
You abandon the sword of needing to be right.
Exactly.
But then, doesn't that clash with the idea of, healthy assertiveness? Like, where do you draw the line?
That's a good question. It's not about becoming passive, that's for sure. It's more about choosing your battles carefully, approaching conflict with a clear mind.
Not letting your ego take over.
Right. And sometimes the strongest thing you can do is choose not to fight, to try and find a path toward understanding.
That takes real strength.
It does.
So how do we actually apply this abandoning the sword idea in everyday life, especially if we're not, black belt martial artists?
Well, think about it. How often do we draw our swords metaphorically, right?
In arguments.
Yeah, in arguments, or even just in our thoughts, holding on to resentment, needing to have the last word.
It's so easy to get caught up in that.
It is. But Oyama's philosophy, it's a challenge to disarm, both mentally and emotionally.
To find that inner peace.
Exactly.
And he gets pretty serious about this, too. He warns that karate, without this Budo, without this deeper meaning, it can actually become dangerous.
Barbaric, even. He says it becomes a tool for self-promotion, and it loses all meaning in the process.
It's like he was really worried about karate losing its soul.
He was. And that worry, it's still relevant today.
How so?
Well, when something powerful like martial arts loses its ethical core, it can be misused.
So it's not just about the physical techniques, it's about the intent behind them.
Exactly. Oyama's reminding us that technique without heart, that's a dangerous combination.
And do we see examples of this today? This kind of loss of Budo and how martial arts are practiced or portrayed?
Yeah, unfortunately, you see cases where it's all about aggression, about violence, with none of that philosophical depth that Oyama was talking about.
Or where it's all about the money, turning it into a business and forgetting about the ethical side.
Right, and that's where Oyama's message becomes so important.
It's a reminder to stay true to the real spirit of the art.
Absolutely.
And, it makes you wonder, does this apply to other areas of our lives?
How do you mean?
Are there other places where we might be losing the why behind the what?
Oh, I see what you mean.
Like education becoming all about getting a job, or art being just about money and fame.
Absolutely. I think Oyama would say, yeah, we need to keep checking our motivations, make sure what we're doing aligns with what we believe in.
So in the end, Oyama saw karate as a path to self-improvement, a way to live a life with purpose, with integrity.
Yeah, he saw it as a way of life
And he warned us against just reducing it to fighting or entertainment.
because that strips away the true heart of it.
It does. Well, it sounds like we have a lot to think about.
We do. Oyama leaves us with a question, really. What swords do each of us need to abandon in our own lives?
Those things that are holding us back from finding peace, from connecting with others.
It's a powerful question to consider.
It is. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive.
Thanks for having me. It's been great.
And to all our listeners, until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and maybe even consider abandoning a sword or two along the way.
You might be surprised at what you discover.
We'll see you next time.
See you there, ever?